And it
And
looks like we will be getting into draft very, very soon. We're actually in it right now, and we're looking at Capedogs on the blue side, Zenigma on the red, and once again, Akali and Shin taken out.
yeah, so no Akali or Shen once again here, and the Wukong ban. Already seeing the change up here. That was an absolutely insane game from him last time. Able to solo kill the Cho'Gath in side lanes, finding crazy kills despite, I would say again, another early game loss up there in the top lane where they had those 2v2s going against them. Really making it work for himself. And now actually some change-ups here from Zenigma, banning out 2 junglers here instead of the one in the early game.
Yeah, both the Kha'Zix and the Xin Zhao are off the board. Palicraft not going to be on that champion. So we're going to see a little bit more changes here, and maybe some power shift here from these members of both teams here. We did see this Xin Zhao get 2 kills very, very early, started things very, very strongly. What's going to be the answer? And right here, we're seeing no, we're not gonna. The problem wasn't talent on this Lulu. The problem may have been the attention we gave the bot lane. So we're looking at potentially a Lulu back in that support role, but Lulu can be played in the solo lane as well.
Yeah, Lulu's super. I mean, I still think she's a very strong pick. I still think she's a great support.
Mm-hmm.
And again, it really could just be that they were just trying to make desperation plays because when you're facing down that giant goal lead in an objective loss, you really just want to try and find anything you can to force a fight and get even going even is kind of optimal there. So, it's not a terrible call here. I like the Lulu. I just want to see a slight play style shift from this team.
Yeah, but with the Lulu being picked here, you do open yourself up to handshake away that Tristana and Jinx lane, Tristana and Leona lane once more. But it looks like we might not be getting that. Half of that, we'll get the Tristana, which is obviously another flex. But Udyr, the one champion who is outrunning a lot of these nerfs. Now, Hecarim for a while gave a good race. He was ahead of those nerfs, but Udyr has survived throughout all of this, and with Phase Rush, it doesn't matter that Kim Tank doesn't have the same kind of speed. He has the same kind of speed. Udyr is going to be the same kind of jungler, the same level of annoyance right there for Palicraft, or excuse me, for Zen. So we're going to have to look at how he passes champion and if he's able to maybe give some attention to his bot lane this game.
Yeah, Udyr so strong. I'm going to be really focusing on that heavy early game clear. Um, and then the Trundle to answer is really interesting because this could be flexed in theory. I would expect to see this towards top lane, as generally where we're seeing a lot of Trundles. A lot of top laners really liking how powerful his level 1 can be.
Oh yeah.
And of course, his gank setup not being the greatest, especially against the likes of Tristana, who can just kind of jump away. So really looking to see the one kind of move towards a solo lane.
Look, I love Trundle. Trundle's my favorite champ in the game. He has, I think, I'm almost 100% certain he has the best level 1 of any champion in the entire game. I think he really only has trouble, maybe not level 1, but with Gwen. I think Gwen is the best top lane champion right now. I think Trundle is a very strong option. Now, obviously, he can be played in the jungle. There's a lot of different ideas about what he can, itemization, even keystones. There's some thought about what Toronto can go for here. This is still a flex pick right here for Capedogs. I very much so am interested to see where they decide to take this king of trolls here. But we are seeing Zenigma once again banning out even more top laners away from Daze.
Yeah, so here's actually something pretty interesting. Opting instead of going for that last pick, they just want to get this Jax. They want to get the split push in the game. They want to make sure that they have that as an option. So getting up towards that split pusher pick is really, really important here for them. Really expecting to see them kind of then lock in something with a little bit of disengage. Nautilus could work in this case if they manage to get having the Jax on that split push and then flanking down for an engage. Absolutely something that could work. And I really do think that this is another one of the champions within the support pool that both these players share. So can be picking that one away. Definitely probably the best follow up to Leona.
Yeah, not a bad answer here for Fifi. Do you love me here? I do have the Nautilus here. Nautilus Tristana is a strong lane. We'll have to see if this is going to be confirmed. The Jinx Lulu, as we are going to get the mid laner and potentially the jungle or top coming up through here, and it is going to be the Anivia picked up a very strong champion, one that is, I think, very good into Udyr. He runs in, you wall him in, now he's stuck with you in that icy zone, and you stun him up. You have a pretty good shot at getting a strong counter gank onto this Udyr. It's a very, I think, safe choice, and it has a lot of good ability to set up for engages, zoning on objectives, and on waves. A very good champion here. But we're going to see the last choice is the second Yordle on this team, Poppy. Now, this is still a flex. Poppy can go top or jungle. We do not know where this Trundle or Poppy are going just yet.
Yeah, very, very interesting stuff here. I absolutely love the lock in Poppy. I was about to comment right when they locked in that Anivia that they don't have any hard engage on this team again, which is a little bit dangerous. So you saw it kind of negatively affected them in that last game. Here with the Poppy, though, she can definitely kind of jump in there, force a fight, using that ultimate to displace either the person, that she's trying to engage on, lock him up just a little bit longer to allow our team to collapse and catch up. But also, of course, a Seraphine to follow that means that there is so much potential on the side of Zenigma here to really just turn around a team fight. There's all these ultimates where they could line up a Nautilus Seraphine ultimate. So I'm not sure if I like the 5v5 here for CDU. The one change I think we will want to see here is going to be focus the bot lane, get this Jinx and Lulu ahead, and you have insurance all the rest of the game.
Yeah, I mean, look, at this point, please just go bot lane. If you don't focus it, even if you don't focus the bot lane, at least just show it some love at some point in this in the laning phase. I think that you do have a Jinx. You can make things work if you do put some resources into her. I definitely want to see whether it's going to be the Trundle or the Poppy making its moves there. Now, the Poppy W works well into Jax, I believe, so that is probably going to be a pretty strong lock-in for that champion in the top lane. So I'm thinking it's going to be Trundle in the jungle here. It could still be top, but I like the idea of the Trundle pillar coming down, and even if you do have Tristana jumping away, this Nautilus may not have the same sort of luck with that kind of a gank coming in. With Lulu, Jinx, and Trundle, that seems like a really good combo to gank in the bot lane. So I'm really liking what I'm seeing here from Capedogs. Now, do I like their comp more than Zenigma? Probably not, because we're seeing this Jax. The Jax is the real killer for me here for Zenigma. It forces you to have a lot better macro. It forces you to answer him in the side lane or give up objectives. So it's going to take away one of the members from CDU that has to answer him. So now you're looking at your Poppy being gone, which is one of your main engage tools. Are you gonna try to fight for TP advantage, or force yourself to be fighting 4v4 in a 4v4 with no Jax, no Poppy? Zenigma outright looks like they just hard win that. So it's gonna be all about what we see Winterfresh do on this Jax for me.
Yeah, so here it is. It is the Days locking in the Poppy. I don't think they're going to go for any trades here. I believe that they are locking down just their champions in order as we move through this champion select. But again, this means that Poppy being locked into the 1v1 in top lane, there's not a single hard engage tool on the side of CDU then. You have the Trundle Pillar. You can try and follow up on someone like Nautilus or Seraphine who doesn't have those dashes or speed to get away. But realistically, if Jax gets ahead in this top lane, you have no answer here to really force a fight or stop the split push with a stronger laner of your own.
That's the thing, though. Like, do you really want to, as Palicraft, do you really want to spend your second game focusing out your top lane, leaving out your Jinx on an island in the bot side, hoping that you don't get pushed back behind and pushed far behind like you did last game? I mean, think about it. You had a lot of attention on your top lane last game. Didn't really work out. So I think for this game right here, you definitely want to go ahead and say, look, if you're on this Poppy, my man Days, last game I gave you attention on the Silas, didn't quite work out. This game, play safe, no die, we win bot side, and this could work out. This could definitely work out for CDU. Their biggest issue for me was two things. One, like we mentioned, not giving that bot side enough attention, and two, Sirius for Y not being at objectives, not being a presence during a lot of those fights, especially when he was their only real front line. I think on Zenigma, he'll have to be at these fights more often. I think on Zenigma, he'll have a better shot at being in position with the team, and he'll be forced to be with the team at these objectives. So I think they have a better shot in this game. But I gotta say it again, I'm really digging Zenigma's their team comp here, and it's even more comfort. Like we said, they play the top laner Winterfresh only plays split pushers. You have your split pusher again. You have comfort again, and this is if he's even in the laning phase, he's so far ahead.
Yeah, I'm really also looking to see again Zenigma last game having that Tristana tank support. I'm not going to say Leona again, but similar type here. Even I would say even with even more wave clear than they did last game, they can constantly get this priority bot, look for early dragons like they did last game, but also roam that Nautilus up towards mid through that tri-brush if they can get vision in it, and then really force Anivia to just play so far back here. Seraphine Nautilus has a deadly CC chain that I think will last around 9 seconds if they can land it all correctly. It is disgusting to see, and I running Nautilus jungle a little bit after the latest patch was able to see it a few times with a couple Seraphine mids. But really, if you're playing this Anivia, you gotta be super careful. Make sure you have vision towards your bot side, and if Trundle's forced to play towards that top side, it's really gonna be hard for her to avoid these Nautilus roams.
Yeah, think about that mid lane matchup is Seraphine early on is not that strong. She's not a very strong laner, but when she does scale up, she just destroys waves. She has very good ability to push these waves out. Now, like you mentioned, Nautilus and Seraphine combo is disgusting. You don't really have to add Nautilus. We all, Seraphine herself is a disgusting, disgusting champion. You can nerf her items as much as you want, but until you rework her so she doesn't have that encore that extends. I mean, choke points. Literally, if you're a CDU, you can't move through choke points at all against this comp. They would love that for you. But just focusing more on just in the lane here, Seraphine, if you don't give her any attention, you don't try to make moves against her, it's gonna be really tough for Sirius for Y here. So, and like you mentioned with Nautilus roaming up, because you can in a Tristana lane, you definitely can roam up. I'm really surprised if Lulu also roamed up from time to time. Didn't see that at all in our last game, but this game definitely looks like a prime opportunity for both these guys to maybe try to focus their mid lane a little bit more. But yeah, this Seraphine will become a monster if you do not shut her down early.
Now let's talk briefly about what Capedogs Unleashed can do here.
Okay.
They have the Jinx, they have the Lulu, so again, light hyperscaling team. They have the peel for the Jinx in the late game, stopping the Dias with the Lulu and the Anivia, making sure Udyr and Jax can't do what they want to do, as well as the Poppy W, and of course trying to be able to shut down those carries as well, just yoinking away their tank stats, making sure they can't do too much damage to the Jinx before they do end up going down. It's going to be really important for Capedogs to get early dragons. If they can get early dragons and stop them from being forced, and then end up forcing Zenigma to fight drags because it would be like third drag or fourth drag, looking towards that soul. That's what they can do to get this Jax out of the top lane and coming towards them, and that's what they want. So look for early objective control here from Capedogs towards that bottom side, and please gank the Jinx. Just make sure it happens at least once this game.
Please look at that bot lane. Watch that bot lane if you are this Trundle. I think he definitely will, especially with this Lulu being able to try to polymorph the Udyr before he gets that bear slap in there. My eyes are definitely on this bot lane once again to try to get something happening, and that really starts with Polycraft here once again. I definitely believe we're going to look at a very good spot here for this team.
We will be jumping into the game here in just a second. So thanks for tuning in with us on the Analyst Desk. We're jumping into match 2. We'll be Capedogs, we'll be Zenigma. Stay tuned, and we will find out in just a little bit.
worlds colliding, only one will take it all. Can we bring to fall the giants? Can we make the final call? We are the ones to ignite the darkened skies. The champions of a world that we defy. A solar ray of the few who rise up high. And we all fight at the last fight.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to XLNC Esports. We are bringing you the Light League match here between Zenigma Eclipse versus Capedogs Unleashed. In Game 1, we saw a dominant victory here. A kind of bit of a surprise on my end, not so much for Dunsey, but for me at least, Zenigma taking a very strong Game 1, playing off of what was Winterfresh on a Wukong and Zengerado on the Morgana, respectively. Now, going into the second games, the rosters have completely mixed it all up, and they're looking to continue the duking fight fest. I am your play-by-play caster, Zephyr, joined by the lovely Dunsey as my color.
Zephyr, you always impress me. Where do you find this deep baritone to introduce us every single night?
And then I lose it 30 seconds later.
That's what I'm saying. A little bit of a deep ward here from Zen Jaredon. They're gonna each find their deep vision. You can see the pixel bush is
Stop
already
using
warded.
that word. You're hurting my feelings.
The pixel bush?
No, deep.
What? Oh, your deep voice?
No,
I
you kept saying the word deep, and it just reminds me of how insufficient I am to you.
Oh my god. Okay, let's go. I like that deep baritone voice that you bring us in with. Can you use it this whole cast? I'm curious.
Okay.
How long?
Well,
How long can you keep this up?
I'll do my best. I will
Okay.
put on the caster voice for the entire game.
Sure. Yeah. Show me this level 1 fight here.
This level 1 fight between Winterfresh and Days isn't really going to be going anywhere off of that Counter-Strike stun, but it continues to show that the applicable pressure in this lane is going to be back and forth, but I do think it swings over to Days eventually on this Poppy, as the matchup does favor her.
Yeah, I really did like that counter pick from Capedogs Unleashed. They were able to late pick Poppy. It was curious why Zenigma decided to take Jax in the first rotation with that R3 pick. Oh, wow, we're really up
Goes in
here.
there, pulls through with the Counter-Strike, does find the stun respectively, but the return is not found for Days, and with that leap strike, he's going to go down for a first blood here.
Man, I mean, we talk about how Poppy is supposed to be this counter lane champion, and we saw just the complete opposite there.
Yeah, and honestly, it's not hard to see why that went wrong, but Winterfresh here going to be taking a little bit further of a trade, goes back with the Counter-Strike, and once again, no stun to be found here from Days. Now, the two of them are looking a little bit too low here. I don't think we're going to see any further fighting. So that being said, let's rewind that clock a bit and see what the replay has in store for us.
Yeah, and the biggest reason Poppy doesn't win here is you see both champs are going to hit level 2 at the same time. She has her charge and her Q, that little big power thing that she throws down there, the hammer, but she doesn't have her W, which means that Winterfresh has free reign to jump right onto him, throw down his empowered auto attack. Just kidding, he doesn't have empowered auto attacks yet because he also took Counter-Strike. But she can't stop it. She can't peel him off, and Winterfresh knew that, took advantage of it, and was able to pick up a flash and first blood there really early this game.
Absolutely, and it continues to stem forward. I will say, though, personally, it's a good first blood here for Winterfresh on Zenigma to find, but that lane is going to continue to get tougher and tougher there. I love that polymorph onto Fifi to prevent any further engage or discourse. He definitely was getting ready to step up and go for the auto stun and push it a little bit further with probably a dredge line, but nothing came through.
Yeah, I almost wanted that hook to land for Capedogs because you had Pallycraft waiting in the wings, as he always does. Man, Counter-Strike doing so much damage.
It does definitely chunk out here, but since he already used the leap strike, Day's going to find his way back to tower quite safely. Zenigma looking to continue the camping from game 1 in this top lane again, as he's already over on the side here just waiting. Look at him. Even with the flash.
Yeah, I can't remember if Bear Stun actually gets canceled as a dash in the Poppy W. I'm going to have to keep tabs on that interaction. If anyone knows in the chat, let me know. For some reason, I want to say that Bear Stun does count as a dash and it gets canceled, which would be really good for Days, but I'm not positive. We'll have to check that out, but here comes a hook.
Fifi gonna be in with the dredge line there. The bomb is ticking for Audacious. Flash forward from Tonic misses the auto when necessary there. So we find a successful living Jinx on the end of bot lane.
Yeah, that's so unfortunate. It was a beautifully timed exhaust from Hey It's Talon. He made sure that both the explosive charge could not be procced because the attack speed would slowed so long, and the end of that explosive charge was still mitigated damage-wise because the exhaust was still on top of Tonic when the bomb went off. If it had ran out, I think it might have done enough damage to Audacious at that point. Instead, his AD carry is able to survive. It's important. He couldn't heal there because we didn't take note yet that Audacious actually has cleanse once again, opting for that summoner spell. Didn't work out so well for him in game 1. Cleansed a lot of bindings, but he died anyway. This time he's going to be looking to cleanse both that Counter Strike and the Encore from Winterfresh and Warboss Justin.
Who knows? He might even be cleansing what is the stun there from Zenigma.
Yeah.
Could be anything, Dunzy. Don't just pin it on 2 abilities.
I just don't think it's worth cleansing the bear slap.
I'm just being picky.
Hey man, you can cleanse the root on Nautilus auto. There you go.
Yeah, you can cleanse the slow on Baron knockup or something. I don't know. After you kill the entire team. They could fight this one out, but I don't think they're in a great position. Winterfresh playing off of the 6 advantage here onto Daze, takes the fight into him, but as that ticks down here, Daze is in a perfect spot to respond, and finally we're seeing why this Poppy was picked out.
Yeah, he's able to stop those leap strikes now, and Winterfresh can't stick onto Daze hard enough to take advantage of his early first blood. Even with that kill early, he's still even in CS. He's gonna have to TP to pick up this wave. Yeah, there he is, because it's a big lead right now or a big wave that he would have lost had he not been able to get back there in time. Fortunately for him, he'll be able to take a little bit of that gold back and maybe even hold that wave under his turret for a little while.
Either way, across the board, the game coming to a bit of a stalling pace. Everyone just waiting for those specific ultimate windows to come up. You saw Winterfresh immediately go in once he found his, but across the board, still just kind of waiting for that one to play through and through. As Dragon has already been taken, there's no major objective to contest either as well. So the eyes are all on what is people like Zenigma here, who's getting zapped and slowed out, as well as across the board Pallycraft on this Trundle.
Yeah, it is stalling a little bit, and it's because the Drake was already taken by Zenigma. Once again, they find that early Drake, but an early W from Poppy.
Finds it immediately there, and it's going to be the Keeper's verdict that sends Winterfresh away and saves the day here for Daze.
Yeah, that's well played by him. He kind of needed to actually use that massive hammer and throw him away. Winterfresh still has flash available, but Daze's flashes just came back up. A big TP.
Large TP coming in, but Fifi and Tonic more than likely already out of the play here. At this point, there's not much that they found from the move off of that summoner, but at least Fifi's going to head straight back off of it. So a bit of a wasted TP in my opinion.
Yeah, you're right. It was just, I mean, I guess they saved the pink ward, man. On the other side, they'll take the Herald for that pink ward. Savage? Saved? There it is.
Saving.
I don't know. Saving the pink ward for Herald. And now they're gone. So, I mean, you see Pally kind of has a little bit of a hint. Yeah, there he goes. He knows that Zen wants to make this play here. Trying to sniff it out, but he doesn't have Sears for White quite there yet. Warboss Justin has the prio.
Ooh, Fifi with a good dredge line onto town, and the bomb to tick the rest of the health away. Exhaust onto Tonic here is going to prevent most of the further damage, but there's that depth charge to get the knockup as Fifi goes for a good forward tanking position. Buster shot to dissuade any further presence as Tonic finds the kill. Both in the bot lane, actually.
Yeah, and here comes a Herald in the top lane as well. Fifi played that dive so well. I thought he was going to hit that hook too. But instead, able to just tank up the turret perfectly. He lived with about 50 HP, and both the Audacious and Talon fall.
Ooh, good stun on the War Boss just in there. A little bit of the Glacial Storm to press him further back. He's looking low on the edge there, but no big deal. He finds a super mega death rocket. That's what he finds.
Yeah, you said no big deal, but it was a huge deal as Winterfresh takes a kill of his own.
I'm just gonna stop talking because at this point I was like, "There was flash or die." That was exactly what I was looking at right there. I was like, he didn't have to flash. He was completely out. He was good.
That was the perfect flash or die opportunity there. But man, okay, so this game, both teams are just hyped right now, right? They have their warm up in. All they want to do is fight. Here comes some more.
He's looking for further aggression on the Winterfresh. A good counter strike going to prevent him from going any much farther there. So no kill, sadly, Dunzy, and he's just gonna have to suffice with the minion wave instead.
Yeah, but here it is.
Good encore with into the dredge line there. Gonna send Sirius for Y into the egg Nivea form. Most of those kills looks like it lands over the way of War Boss Justin. Sadly, there was nothing Pally could really do.
Yeah, and Tonic is safe under the turret. Fifi might be able to gank his own lane here. Tonic just farming away, but here comes Nautilus.
Ooh, over on the side, gonna be setting this one up. The dredge line, no, it's going to be the depth charge to immediately go forward into the flash. Wild Growth down, Root with the bomb, ticking away, leap forward with the shield. Not gonna save Audacious. They turn their attention to Hades Talon, but a flash to follow through secures the kill off of a Buster. It's a double for Tonic.
And Fifi is everywhere. He was just mid lane to help that secure that kill onto the Anivia. He makes his way down. Tonic's farming safely. No big deal. I'm just a Tristana on my turret. Yeah, huge deal for you, Capedogs bot lane. Audacious and Talon, 4 deaths now in the first 11 minutes because Tonic is massive. His support is just feeding him, spoon feeding him these kills.
Oh, Days went in with no stun to be found. Finds himself into the face of another solo kill into Winterfresh. What is a counter is just utterly facing defeat in this top side.
Yeah, he says you have the counter pick. I've got counter strike. No big deal. Winterfresh game 1, massive Wukong. Game 2, massive Jack so far. He has been the carry to show up tonight for Zenigma.
Zenigma across the board is performing absolutely remarkable. Winterfresh, of course, like you said, definitely coming in once again into the second game off of playing what was a good Wukong engage in game 1. But at the end of the day, Fifi's looking strong in the bot lane, coming through from not even in his own lane, but also off of his rotations. With Zenigma once again shadowing, preventing Pally from really coming into these lanes successfully. I mean, it's just clean tonight.
And another gank, Fifi, his own lane.
His own lane. Coming in there, sets this one up with the dredge line for the Root onto Audacious, slows them both. Root with the in-depth charge there as the Wild Growth can't even save the day. Pally has arrived with the subjugate onto Fifi, but it's not enough. The sustained double kill is available, and now Pally has to look for the escape. Leap follows through, Flash comes out, but it doesn't even matter. The 2 kills are enough to suffice.
Yeah, 2 versus 3. Tonic and Fifi just massive right now. Check out their inventory. A Kraken for Tristana. She is massive.
And now they look to chase even further into this jungle. Maybe just secure the red buff for themselves. But speaking of securing, let's see how those 2 kills were secured for Tonic.
Yeah, check it out. Jinx and Lulu with all their peel. They're going to throw down the traps, but it doesn't even matter. You mentioned the Wild Growth. Doesn't matter. Tristana gets stopped here, okay? Meanwhile, Fifi has so much CC layered on top. It doesn't matter, man. Tonic has Kraken. He's able to get in. He gets his explosive charge reset. And the 2v3 is just... It's not a numbers game tonight, Shell. It's a Tonic and Fifi game. We're in the bot lane, and they're doing damage.
Yeah, they're doing plenty of it. Enough to be said, as Pally couldn't even get there in time to defend what was Yodacious. So enough damage to really just delete the AD carry. Good disruption onto that leap strike there from Winter Fresh. Days still unable to find the stun. Tries to get that Keeper's Verdict to prevent it, but he must be so frustrated after that.
Yeah, you got the counter pick. We keep preaching this for days. He's in a funk, I'm telling you, because he really used to be the soul of Capedogs. And it's back-to-back games now where Winter Fresh has completely showed him up. I get that you were camped in game 1, but there's no excuse game 2 right now. You died level 2. You have to own up to that. You need to calm and down and stop the bleeding if you are Daze, okay? And I understand that your bot lane is bleeding out right now too, but you have an Anivia, you have some stall, you have a Jinx that wants to scale. Just get through this third Drake without any more deaths.
Now Pally looking for some sort of response in this top lane, can't even manage to catch what is Zenigma. And much to your further and last point there, Dunzy, I will admit, you know, if Daze had found that stun against the wall, I think it would have been a completely different situation into that top lane. I think time and time again, it has not been the fault particularly of Daze, but the failure of what is that dash.
Yeah, a couple of just minor, you know, Teemo level kind of sized misplays, right? You're right. It was so close to that wall and it would have been his first blood. That coin flip, though, is not worth it, in my opinion, for a Jax lane where you can allow what you should be winning. Oh my God, more fighting. Here we go.
Good hook to start off. Wild Growth on Talon himself. The exhaust finds its way onto the wrong individual, and it's going to pay the price as we see Talon go down. Yodacious gets a good chopper stun out as Series for Y looks to be in a poor position. Tonic turns immediately, but a good wall. Glacial Storm prevents him from going further. Egg down, the burn ticking through. Fifi turns his attention and finds Yodacious into the face of turret there. He's looking lower and lower, and the kill goes over to the side here of Pallycraft. Finally, a response here for Capedogs.
Yeah, it's just all day right now for Zenigma. Even in that response, like Zenigma are the ones who come out ahead. The encore.
Ooh, double encore. Looking good there from Warboss Justin. It's enough to dissuade any further presence in this mid lane.
Yeah, and even though they sort of botched that dive bottom where Fifi kind of gives up a kill, he takes one back on the Jinx and they break the mid lane turret. Zenigma are about to take their third Drake. They want to stack this. They are on their way. It doesn't matter that Capedogs are there first. They cannot contest.
They cannot find their way into the Dragon Pit at any given point here. They're trying to clear out vision, maybe kind of fester some power into the river. But at this point, you know, Zenigma's already in place. They're already clearing what is the scuttle there. I think they've got this one in the bag.
Oh, what is Talon doing?
A little far forward, but I think he's out. Still hit by the depth charge. Good double stun from Series for Y, but the hook finds it when it needs to. There's an amazing Wild Growth knockup, but the bomb still finds the kill there from Tristana. They leap forward. Hey, its town is unable to get taken out as it's going to be the pillar that prevents them from going any further. Daze actually manages to get out of pit with the flash as they all go over with the blast cone, so he finds his way to a successful living forward life, and they do find the steal.
That is the one thing Capedogs needed right now. I know they kind of lost the fight, but that buys them some time to stay in this game.
Finding the last second there, playing off of the super mega death rocket from Yodacious. They managed to prevent what is a dire situation. Let's pull it back a little bit before and see that replay of the Dagon take.
Yeah, of course, Capedogs, they opened this up with a nice catch onto Talon. He was just too far up, and despite some really good peel, Capedogs still lose the fight. Now, Zenigma at this point have taken control of the area. You're looking at stacking your soul point. What you need to do is just make sure you're safe. Clear the vision. Instead, they did not do that. Check out that ward in the pit. It was nerfed, doesn't matter. A smite at 923 isn't able to secure that for Zenigma. Instead, it's that nerfed super mega death rocket. You didn't do your due diligence, Zenigma. You needed to make sure you cleared the pit. Instead, Capedogs are living, hanging by a thread.
It's enough to give them a little bit more time, but we've got to face the light here, Dunzy. There's still a massive difference in gold. A lot of that presence existing on Tonic and Winterfresh, both respectively. A 7K individual onto that one as a whole here. Zenigma still in a great spot this game, still within their rights to take these team fights to the best possible extent.
Yeah, I mean, if they can find the 5v5 and just force, that's what you want to do as Enigma. Don't coin flip anything, just take the fight, take the turn, and here they are, looking for a pick.
Pally is looking low, forced to expend the flash at the expense of his own pillar there. That's going to feel really bad. Now Winterfresh stunned out. Counter-Strike going to prevent anyone from stepping any further to him as Tonic is on the side as well, so no kills to be had.
Yeah, luckily for Pally there, that Encore barely missed. He had enough speed from the whimsy of Hey It's Talon, making sure that he gets his jungler out because that would have been Baron if he got picked. He absolutely needed to flash there. He was able to check the Baron. They weren't doing it and just get out. But here, he's stepping up a little bit too far again.
Rooted once again, the bomb ticking through. Good Keeper's Verdict to send Tonic away. That might be enough to get this team fight rolling here as they step up and find the kill onto Fifi. Now Pally, though, trying to move his way back in, even with the wild growth. More than likely taken out here from Tonic. Double root comes through here from the charge from War Boss Justin as Daz is taken out for the double onto Tonic, and Winterfresh goes deep to find the kill response on to Daze. I mean, Hey It's Talon. So 3 kills.
I think I've heard you say Daze's name about 3 or 4 different ways tonight.
Daze.
Yeah.
He needs to come in here and slap me a new one. Speaking of slap you a new one, let's see how the absolute blistering hit here from Zenigma came to be.
Yeah, check out just how long Pally was able to live because of his subjugate and the wild growth. At this point, they're losing focus. You called out that Tristana who gets completely knocked out of the fight, and they're feeling good. Capedogs want this fight. It's great peel, but they aren't able to sustain a long enough team fight into the gold sacks of Zenigma right now. They're just too far ahead. It's them who are able to pull away with the win despite getting picked off first.
It's a bit of a shame on that one. Great play from Daze to get that Keeper's Verdict into where it exactly needed to be. The problem was the rest of the team just wasn't in a position to capitalize. And at that point, it really didn't matter. They did find a good kill onto Fifi, but it's just Fifi. That's not the real gold advantage that you need right now. It's Winterfresh and Tonic. Speaking of Winterfresh, able to leap strike out after picking up that chicken. Man, he is just rude.
Oh my goodness, he is just. I mean, his jungle, Pallycraft's jungle is his jungle. That belongs to him. Doesn't Pally know that by now?
There you go. That's the right mindset. You got dragon spawning though. 40 seconds. We're gonna have to see who that specifically belongs to. Now, once again, we pull back and remind you the good steal here from Yodacious was able to actually extend the lifespan here of this team, but now it doesn't matter at this point. They've got to find some way to contest it further. I don't think Zen Gerardo is going to be leaving the dragon up that easily.
Yeah, and although I don't think Capedogs can win a 5v5 fight here, if they can somehow steal the Drake, it's going to be very scary for Zenigma. Stacking Mountain Drakes with double tanks. Oh!
They're in the pit. Zen goes in, stun it against the wall. Good hook though in the back with a double charm right where you need it onto both Yodacious and Series for Y. The Nivea gone, the bird away. Yodacious trying to kite this one back as his front line gets obliterated. Now the two just left through and through, the only ones alive. The Chompers stop Tonic from going further, but the damage is done here. Zenigma find their way to that soul point.
There's a ward. Oh, okay.
They block it this time, so we're all good.
I really thought that there was a chance they lose that again. It was going to feel so bad for Zenigma. Man, Yodacious would have been a massive hero, but instead they are able to secure it that time. Good for Zenigma.
Well, at this point, though, they take their success off that drag and the major team fight that they just have and stem it towards the Baron. The response is coming on its way, but I think it's already too late given the damage that Tonic has. So that being said, let's take a look at this last dragon fight and see how it really ended up going the way it did.
Yeah, at this point, I mean, we just mentioned Capedogs aren't strong enough to take a 5v5. The biggest item here is Moonstone for Seraphine. You can see all the utility that she's throwing out, but check out the health bars. No one is falling low. Zenigma's the only one who goes below half, but everyone is sustained. They're able to push through the team fight, and Zenigma don't even really flinch. They see 5, they take 5, right? They want this massive grouped up team fight. They have this grouped up Udyr who's buffed up, this Jax who's buffed up by the support Seraphine in the mid lane, and they want that. They're trying to run into the comp of Capedogs, whereas they're much more peely, right? Capedogs, they're gonna let you come into them, but they can't take that 5v5. They should not be looking to engage that. You have an Anivia who wants people to run into her. You have a Poppy who's designed to stop that engage, a Lulu who's designed to peel you off. Walking forward was a giant mistake there from Capedogs.
Winter Fresh takes it pretty hard against Series for Y. Can't dive any further under that turret, but he points the message out here. Who's the real big dog on the map at this point? And as these waves continue to crash, the question will be answered inevitably here for Capedogs as they continue to find themselves into fight after fight.
Yeah, and it's just such a clean game right now, especially on the side lanes for Zenigma Eclipse. 6-0 on the Jax, 11-0 on Tonic 136. I really got to give credit to Fifi for making it happen in every lane, making sure his 80 carry feels good. They've built up, Zephyr, a 12k gold lead 25 minutes in. It's 21-3.
It's disgusting. This game looks far different from what we saw in the first, and it really brings to question where Capedogs stands right now and where's Enigma's at, because personally, this does not reflect the last 2 weeks of Light League at all. Capedog finds major success against Lotus White, what is considered to be in the top 3 of the best teams here, and they also take a great fight against CB Clockwork, who is seeing a resurgence off of the back of what was Anderson Cooper. And Zenigma was faltering step by step, way by way, and here tonight they look completely different.
Yeah, I'm loving the parity. At any given night, it could go for anyone in Light League, it seems like. That chunk from even Hawkthorne falling to Divine Ascension earlier in week 3, but before we get into that, here comes a fight.
Encore absolutely whiffs in the back. Calicraft steps forward, the Subjugate keeping him so further alive. They get the triple knockup off the Wild Growth, but a good leap from Tonic stems the fight further. Now a good hook route from onto Hayat's Town secures the kills. The bomb does the rest of the damage. Tonic looks for more, puts the Buster Shot forward there, and the turret just barely doesn't find a successful kill. Now Daze arriving does get the response onto Zen Jaredon, but Winter Fresh is going to keep the fight going as they look even further into some of these Nexus turrets. A great wall to prevent the Dredge line from finding its way anywhere but onto actually Yodacious to find a way onto that cleanse, and now the team has to back off, but they have found a double inhib take as a result.
Yeah, Zenigma are going to allow the pressure from these lanes to build up, and they're going to spot that soul for themselves, right? They're going to all come to Dragon here. They're going to take this Mountain Soul, and it'll be all Zenigma from that point on.
Well, before we see what occurs at the Dragon here, let's take a look at that last fight and see how those inhibs came to be, or more particularly, came not to be.
Yeah, so check out Zen. Once again, it's the Seraphine, despite missing her ultimate that time, who's able to keep him up. It's constant Ares, it's constant Moonstone procs, and this last one here keeps him alive once again. It doesn't matter. Super Mega Death Rocket finds the target, but it's the Moonstone just doing so much work. Meanwhile, think about Tonic, what we talked about earlier, how much damage he's done because Fifi has gotten him up to this point. He's at 3 items, and you can see the amount of damage that he's doing in these team fights. It's too much for Capedogs to handle. Doesn't matter how good you can play the team fight series for Y.
Winter Fresh. Look at this guy. He does not care. The whole squad is on Drake right now, securing Soul. Winter Fresh puts a little bit of pressure on today's, and the entire team goes wild, drops the contention as a whole. And yeah, now they're coming, gonna make a mockery out of this move here. Zen starts it off with a good start of the Daze. Flash forward with the hook, can't quite find it. Keeper's verdict. He steps back and finds it right where he needs to on to Tonic, but Zenigma is still pushing forward there, stunning the wall, but it's going to be a quadruple encore here into a triple root. Now Zenigma playing off of the massive CC spike. Look to finish this fight in seconds here. A good wall from Series for Y prevents them from diving onto this Anivia, but the damage is done. They found what they needed to. They pick up the double.
Yeah, Warboss Justin finding the encore of his late league career here. Massive team fight win. The entire Zenigma team is able to follow up on that. He drops the beat on all of them, rooting them, keeping them in place. And look at Zenigma marching down for a possible 2-0.
It's not just possible, it's happening. 9 seconds left on the clock here for Daze and Palicraft. The rest of the team just deleting that Nexus. They find their way in a shorter time period, sub 30 minutes this time around, to a victory here in their second game.
I'm a Zenigma believer right now, Zephyr. They have looked so good tonight.
Zenigma has looked absolutely absurd, Dunsey. They don't even look like the same team at this given point. And Capedogs, I'm absolutely surprised. We're seeing a resurgence of what this team was really playing with in what was week 1 and 2 when they found themselves towards the bottom end of the roster. So who knows? Maybe some brains have been switched tonight. Maybe there's some machine in the back that's kind of just flipping the switch on them all. But either way, we're going to take this one back to our AD here between Sulpan and my apologies, Shells, to see what they think of the absolutely new and brutal Zenigma Eclipse.
And thank you, Zephyr. And man, what a game it was. Shells, I want to get your first impressions off of that one. What do you think was the key turning point there in that one?
You know, it's funny you word it that way. The key turning point for me was hearing Dunsey say that he is now a Zenigma truther when he had Capedogs on our latest power rankings at number 2. Now, I remember him saying on the cast that the numbers didn't work out and there might have been something a little too tricky for me. I need to hear his explanation about those numbers right there as far as Capedogs is concerned. But this has been the Fifi Do You Love Me show. Just from the beginning to the end, this Nautilus play from the support has been absolutely nutty. There will be songs, poems, maybe even operas written about how effective Fifi was on the map, not only enabling Tonic to get double kills bot side. We saw, like you mentioned in the pregame, looking at the picks and bans, the Seraphine, Nautilus, just how synergistic they have, their kits. I mean, we saw Series for Y locked up for 9.5 years, even got the egg passive, did not survive that onslaught. Fifi was easily, for me, the MVP of this game.
I would have to 100% agree with you. It was good vision setups everywhere to make sure that those rooms, that he could set up his own roams. Honestly, it really just came down to, like, I almost felt bad for poor Zen there in the jungle on the Udyr. Didn't really have anywhere to go. When all your laners are solo killing and everyone's stomping and everyone pushing forward, it just really enables that Udyr to farm up, play for objectives, and they didn't really need too much from the Udyr other than just to show up at the lanes at the right times. That he did show up, have some presence in that early game room with the Nautilus and the Seraphine combo, just completely connecting onto that Anivia. And that was like the one, I think, lane gank he actually ended up pulling off in the game. But the rest of it was just map dominance. I want to point out in the ban phase, making sure that they were removing Daze from tanks that could play well into the Jax and play super safe on weak side. They just completely removed that. It was an uncomfy champion, I think, for Daze here. Not super fond of the Poppy as far as I'm aware, and really forcing on an uncomfy matchup. You saw an early game solo kill from Jax. Chiefy is back in, takes a bad trade, and Jax just turned that into a massive lead. So huge shout out to Winterfresh again in this game, looking so strong in both matchups so far.
Yeah, Winterfresh on Comfort Jax looks great. Winterfresh on the Wukong looked great as well. And I want to speak about positioning and decision making again, because we saw that be a big factor in how game number 1 went. And I don't want to sound like I'm putting too much on Series for Y, but once again, another very, very questionable teleport at a very bad time cost his team an objective. We saw, I think, around the 8 to 10 minute mark, Series for Y TP's bot side into that bot side, that river, totally out of mana. to try to set up a gank on two champions that were under their tower. There was no way that an Nivea would have any sort of effect on what happened bot side. So that was the dinner bell. That was like, we saw Zenigma say, okay, wait. We see Trundle's bot. We see a Nivea's bot. There's a wave pushing in the mid lane. That was a free Herald for almost, really no reason at all. That wasn't what destroyed the game for Capedogs United, or Unleashed, excuse me. But there were just numerous times in both these games where it felt like Capedogs was beating themselves. In some ways, it was active plays like bad teleports. In other plays or in other situations, it felt like maybe just the way they see the macro in general, the way they're playing the game in general, has kind of hurt them in ways that have given Zenigma huge advantages that were hard to punish.
Yeah, and while Jinx and Lulu is a very strong bot lane, it's not playing into the style that that Capedogs at least is showing here in this series. They're showing that they want to be proactive. They want to go for a crazy teleport play. They want to find flanks. They wanted to engage. But the compositions they're picking to match that energy and that play style are just not there right now. Anivia mid lane, very reactionary champion, looking for people to come towards her, looking to set up a gank, maybe set up another person CC. But who do you have left on the team at that point? You got the Trundle with the pillar. You can maybe set up a crazy combo with Poppy and Nivea, but when you're running to a split push with that Jax in the top lane, you're not going to be able to call down your Poppy. Jax always is going to have priority, especially if he manages to get that solo kill, and Trundle doesn't have the gank presence to be able to really turn that lane around for days there in that situation.
Yeah, and back-to-back games, we're seeing that Dawes just really cannot stand up to what Winterfresh has for him. And it's really tough because, like you mentioned, you have to keep him up there to answer the split push. He really can't do that. And if he does try to make any kind of move aggressively, even on the wave itself, maybe not even on Winterfresh, maybe just on the wave, he just gets knocked down to half health, and now he really can't be a presence for an objective on the other side of the map, or he really can't help out and stop these very strong pressures that we're seeing from Winterfresh on these champions. So it's just very, very tough when you see Daze having a hard time, and then you see Palletcraft having a very, very slow first. That was more about the name in there, but we're seeing just some very upsetting things out of Capedogs when they seem like they're starting to get their things turned around. They're now, I think, 5-7 in the league. They've been looking a lot better than what they started off as, but in this matchup here against Zenigma Eclipse, who has a worse record than them, they're looking like they are reverting back to their old ways, which is really, really tough to see when you see a guy like Yodacious, who is second in the league in CS per minute at 7.5. He's fifth in the league at damage per minute. You're not seeing that out of him in these games. And Palletcraft has the second most KP in the whole league at 70%. You're not seeing this out of him in this series.